Okay, that's great. And we're recording. So thank you very much. As I said, thank you for joining me this evening. I'm going to give you an overview. The purpose of the session is to give you an overview of the residentials that are coming up this academic year. So that's in years 4, 5 and 6. Obviously, we've got 2 residentials just around the corner. That's for year 5 and 6, fairly close. They're in November. And all year 5 and 6 parents should have already received a letter about that in your inboxes. So if you haven't, check your spam folder on your inbox as well. You've got loads of details in those letters. It's quite a lengthy letter, and I do apologize for that, but I wanted to put all the information into those letters for 5 and 6. Year 4, you haven't received your letter yet, so don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. If you're a year 4 parent on the call, you'll get your email and notification towards the end of the second half of this term, and your trip is later on, as I would explain as well. I am so passionate about residentials in primary. Being typically a Key Stage 2 teacher my entire career, and in some schools being the only male primary teacher, I ended up attending multiple residentials each academic year. So I've lost count of how many residentials I've done in the 21 years I've been teaching, but it must be now probably into the 3 digits at least. With regards to UAE residentials, I've used a range of different companies. I've worked, for those of you who've known me over the years here at DBSJP, I've worked actually out in Dubai now for 13 years, 4 of those at DBSJP. And of those years, the majority of residentials that I've run and led have actually been with the Adventure Centre, who are the providers of our residentials for years 4, 5 and 6. I'm going to speak more about them on the next few slides. If you've got any doubt in your mind about sending your child on a residential, the Adventure Centre, and I'm not on commission, there's no one on the call tonight from the Adventure Centre. They genuinely are the best providers that I've ever worked with in the region, and I'm going to explain why in the next few slides. I've got a long-standing history with them, going back to about 2016, 2017, when I first started using them. The camps that they provide for the children are literally just second to none. So I'm going to go into some of the details of that now. I'll give you an overview of who the Adventure Centre are, and then I'll talk through each of the sites that they use, and then just some general things about what we do from a school perspective to prepare the children and ensure that they're ready for the residential itself as well. There's loads of information on the board in front of you on the screen. Sorry, on the board. It's because I'm used to be in the classroom. There's loads of information on the screen in front of you. Take away from this, the Adventure Centre owned by 2 amazing people, and that's Hannah and Brian. Brian is actually a colleague of mine outside, a friend of mine outside of school as well. I became friends with him as a result of taking the children on the residentials. They're both from the UK, very passionate about outdoor education. They started off relatively small with 1 site, and then as they expanded over the years and became more and more popular, they now operate the Adventure Centre from a number of different sites across the UAE, and we use 3 of those different sites, and we'll explain more about those later. They've got the highest standards I know, ultimately, a kind of summary of those 2 paragraphs up on the screen there. They are so passionate about it, as I've said already, and they want the absolute best for your children. They recognize that you having trust in them is a really key part, but they also want teachers to be coming back and using them ultimately as keep going back to them. Now, during my entire time here at DBSJP, I'm on my 4th year here, we've only used the Adventure Centre, which is amazing news for me. And as I mentioned before, I have used them at my previous school as well for a number of years across different sites that they. So if you take anything away from up on the screen there, just know that the 2 very passionate owners of the Adventure Centre really are out for the best for your children and for providing schools with the best experiences as well. Because they're UK owned and operated out here, their standards and expectations align with UK standards as well. And that is absolutely nothing against UAE standards at all, but it really is the highest standards with regards to outdoor education. Their instructors are predominantly from the UK. They're UK certified and qualified, and all the accreditations, first aid training, etc., all comes from UK authorities and organizations. They will also, and actually any sites that they operate aren't currently running because they're still going through their staff induction at the moment. If you follow them on social media, they've posted quite a lot over the last few weeks about their induction induction program. Just like we have an induction program for our new teachers coming to JP, they have an induction program to ensure that all of their instructors are living and breathing the ethos of the Adventure Centre as well. So the training and the experience they have is so important to them. Accreditation is mentioned on the screen in front of you as well. As I mentioned, it's not just a basic first aid qualification. They have advanced first aid that's in water, on land as well. And that's really important to recognise. But also kind of the last part on there, passionate and caring. Your children will be in the best hands. They'll be going away with their teachers and very familiar faces. Members of the leadership team will be accompanying them on the different trips as well. They will get to know their instructor incredibly well within the activity groups. They'll have the same instructor for their activity group across the number of days, whether they're staying for the 2 nights or the 1 night trip. They will get to know their instructor really well, and the instructor will get to know them really well as well. And they'll know what your children's limits are. They'll know what makes them laugh. They'll know how far to push them without the children getting upset. They really are a bunch around the team. And if you don't already, I've got the links to their socials on the last slide today. I would give the Adventure Centre a follow. They're on Instagram, Facebook, etc., just so you get a flavour of not just what the instructors are going for at the moment with regards to induction, but you'll also get to see and experience the different sites that they operate as well. This is something really special. You might recognise some JP faces up on the screen there in front of you. This is really special whilst the children are away. They take part and they're recognised for what's called the Tom Crean Award. It's great. We're taking away some children who are maybe already incredibly adventurous. Maybe they're very sporty. Maybe staying away from home is nothing brand new to them. The Tom Crean Award is recognition of an individual. The Tom Crean Award is recognition during the stay of that child who's just really shown the qualities of Tom Crean. If you don't know who Tom Crean is, the information is up on the screen in front of you. He supported Ernest Shackleton on one of his expeditions to the North Pole. And Shackleton by name kind of is the name that we all remember. It's the name I certainly remember from doing my history back in like significant English historian, etc. All right, but the Tom Crean Award is the child that recognises kindness whilst they're away, resilience, gratitude, humility, staff at the camp, which is really important as well. So the teachers don't choose the Tom Crean Award. And it really is based on what the instructors and what the operations team see from the children whilst they're away. So yeah, some very familiar faces up on the screen. They're receiving that award for recognition. And it's for those children, maybe they're not in the sports teams and they're not the most outgoing in the classroom. We see a completely different side to them when they're on camp. We'll see a different side to your children, maybe to what you see, but also they'll see a different side to their teachers as well, which is really nice. They'll see their teachers maybe out of their comfort zones, going up a climbing wall or going down a slide into some cold water. And they'll see teachers pushing their boundaries as well, which is also really nice. So that's the Tom Crean Award, which is specific to the Adventure Centre. This is something also that the Adventure Centre is really passionate about, and also I've seen it in practice, and that's challenge by choice. As I mentioned already, some children going away on a residential won't be brand new to them. And some children in year 5 and 6 may have attended a residential last year as well. But there will be children where this is brand new, where they're trying something that's really out of their comfort zone. So challenge by choice is about seeing what your child can do, what they can't do, and then trying to just push them that little extra, that maybe that 1% extra is all they need. So if it's on the climbing wall, maybe they take 1 step up and then they have a bit of a wobble and they need to come back down again. So when it goes round and it's their turn again, can they take 2 steps up onto the climbing wall, or maybe a 3rd step? They'll have the rest of their team cheering them on and supporting them, of course. They will never be pushed to breaking point, for want of a better phrase. They'll be challenged, but if they say, I can't do it, that is 100% respected by the instructors. And as I mentioned, the same instructor will accompany your children throughout the stay. So they'll get to know what your child can and can't do, and what they do and don't enjoy as well. So challenge by choice, for me, is such a great concept, especially not limited to year 4. But obviously our year 4 children will be our first experience, probably for the vast majority of that residential and some of the activities as well. So a bit more detail about the sites. There are 3 different sites that we use for the Adventure Centre. Over the years, we've been developing the program with them, and there's been in some year groups, there's been a bit of repetition of sites, or they've gone to the same site in maybe in year 4 and then again in year 6. We're now in a position where we've kind of met our long-term strategy with this, where we've got progression going from year 4 through to year 6. They're using a different site, and also some of the activities will be different as well. And I'll talk through each of those with you. In essence, we start off quite low key with year 4. They stay just for one night, and they'll be going to Hatter, which is the first of my locations that we've got here. Year 4 will stay for one night, so they'll be there for 2 days at the JA Hatterford Hotel. These children, if you're fresh from the UK, these children are certainly not roughing it. I remember February, year 5 residentials in South Wales. Yeah, they're a chilly experience, and for those in the UK, can relive those experiences maybe from their past as well. We're staying in some amazing accommodation on some amazing sites, and the children will have an absolute ball there. We start off, as I've said, relatively small with year 4, and then we develop that into year 5 and year 6 as well. So many of you have probably been to JA Hatterford and know the site. We have exclusive access whilst we're there to a part of that site as well. So the children, I'll come back to the activities in a bit. The children will stay in a designated area of the Hatterford. And I need to say very clearly as well, parents are not allowed on site whilst the children are away. So if you do sneakily try and check in, the reception team are really good at letting us know, and we very politely ask you to repack your suitcase and head back to Dubai as well. And I've had to do that once in the 4 years I've been here. Only one family tried to do that, but the children have access to the site, which is exclusively just for them to one side. No members of the public are there. These are some of the activities that the children, they won't be doing every single thing on the screen. As I've made sure it's really clear, it's a sample menu of activities there. The majority of the activities for year 4 based activities in and around Hatterford Hotel itself. There's a couple of options with water, but to be honest, the main one that we'll be doing at Hatter will be the games in and around the swimming pool and the slip and slide. They won't be heading off down to Wadi Hub, do anything extra there as well. So year 4, Hatterford Hotel. Now for year 4 parents on the call, your trip isn't until February. What I may do is an additional webinar for you guys a bit closer to the time, just in case there are people not on this call at the moment. But that's nights, and that's the plan for year 4. With regards to accommodation, the children will choose their cabin groups within reason. They will give us the preferences as who they want to be with, and it's down to the teachers to have the final decision of who we think will be best together, support each other, try to get a night full of sleep because they'll need it as well. So the children will have that choice of who they stay with, but it will come down to the teacher's final decision about that. Boys will obviously be in separate cabins to girls. In fact, they're in separate parts of the site. They're not even close to each other. So what typically will happen is there'll be a row of boys' cabins with a teacher at each end, and then a row of girls' cabins after the teacher cabins as well. And the teacher cabins, and this is the same for all the residentials, years 4, 5, and 6, the teacher cabins are interspersed around the site to make sure not just a gender divide there, but to ensure at night any children who might need just that little bit of comfort know where we are and know they can come to us in the nights as well. And that's absolutely fine. And I'll talk more about that a bit later as well. Year 5 are using a brand new site this year. So year 5 are going to the Kingfisher Retreat. It's at Calba. Their site and the purpose of their trip is a lot more eco-based. There will be here a kind of a mid-ground between some land activities and some water activities, probably a few more water activities than the year 4s, and that's part of that progression mapping as well as we go through. So they'll be staying at the Kingfisher Retreat. Both JA and Kingfisher have their own websites. If you do choose to log on to them and have a look after this call as well, that's absolutely fine for that. And if you're a year 5 parent, you've already got information in your letter that went out last week. Again, just a sample menu. These necessarily aren't every single activity that the children are going to follow. but you'll see there a bit more of an even spread of the water-based and land-based activities. Really nice ones here with regards to the kayaking. They'll get to go around the mangroves, the stand-up paddleboarding, etc. as well. There will also be activities for years 4, 5, and 6 in the evening. So we always we have some activities in the day. There'll be like a buffet style dinner, and then there'd always be activities in the evening, whether that's for the 1 night trip for year 4 or the 2 night trips for year 5 and year 6 as well. Finally, I think it's, oh, sorry, missed out the accommodation of the year 5s. Again, definitely, if you can see from the pictures, certainly not a little tent that I stayed in South Wales with my year 5s, being battered by the wind of February. Yeah, very much glamping tents. You can see there just a suggested photo from there. Some of the rooms that also have bunk beds as well. With regards to the numbers in the rooms, that can range from the residentials, but typically it's between 4 and 6 children will be in a cabin. Like I've said, the children will choose their cabin groups, but the teacher will have their final say. And they can also choose cabin groups from across the year group. They're not limited to just children from their class. So maybe the class is split last year and they want to be with a particular friend who's in a different class now. That's absolutely fine. We will try our best. We can't guarantee it, but we will try our best to accommodate it where we can. Finally, I think I'm on to year 6. Yep, on to year 6. We're going to Alleyne Adventure this year. For DBSJP, it's a new site. We've not used it before, but it's certainly not a new site for the Adventure Centre. My wife is at Victory Heights, and this has been a very, very popular trip with their year 6s at Victory Heights. So I couldn't have my wife having all the fun there. So I had to say to Brian and Hannah that I want to use it for us. It's always so popular that it's been really hard to book into the trip over the last few years, and this is the first year that I've been able to get booked in for the Adventure Centre, sorry, the Alleyne Adventure. So really excited about this one. This one will be, by comparison to the other trips, a lot more water-based, okay? We're certainly not talking extreme sports with this one, but there is an element of very clear progression here for year 6s that have been on residentials, maybe in year 4 and year 5, trying things that they definitely, well, I'm hoping they haven't tried before with some of those water-based activities that are there. There will be the land activities as well, and there will be the evening activities as with the other trips. But the big kind of selling point for the year 6s is the this brand new site for JP at Alleyne Adventure. Accommodation, again, it's in the Mercure Grand Jebel Hafit Hotel. I've stayed there myself one Christmas. It's a very nice hotel up in the mountains on Jebel Hafit. And then for us, it's a short drive down to the water park there for the activities which they'll do throughout the day. Okay, year 5 and 6 parents, you've had this information already in your letters. Year 4 haven't yet, but a bit of forward planning for those parents that are on the call. So I've mentioned already, year 4 will be 2 days, staying away for just the 1 night, and year 5 and 6, you're 3 days in total, staying away for 2 nights. The cost involved, basically, it's like an all-inclusive, if you think of it that way. It will be transport from school on the morning of the residential. The instructors will join us at school on that Monday, or depending on what day you're going for years 5 and 6, the 2 trips leave. One group goes on Monday, one group goes on Wednesday. The instructors come to school, they meet us, they have like a safety chat and things within school already. They will also escort us on the coach. And they will then take us the entire way, and then we're kind of under the care and supervision of the Adventure Centre the minute that trip begins. All food is included. There'll be breakfast, lunch and dinner, which typically are buffet style meals. If they're doing an activity which is off-site, which there won't be many of them this year, the Alleyne Adventure definitely for one, they'll always have a packed lunch provided. I have never gone hungry, I'll put it that way for you. There's ample food, it's child friendly, it's dietary friendly as well. So if there are children that have any dietary needs, please put it on the medical form very clearly. The Adventure Centre are amazing at catering for some of the most difficult or more maybe obscure dietary needs. They've probably come across it in the past with other schools. So please make it really clear on the medical form. If your child's a fussy eater, there's always plenty of options that they can enjoy. And yeah, as I've said, I've never gone hungry, which probably says quite a lot for my appetite whilst we're away. The staff are included obviously in the cost. insurance and accommodation, and everything else, as mentioned up on the screen, is all included. Let's see what's next. It's a bit of a messy slide, this one. Apologies for this one. I was trying to cover all 3 year groups in one go. So I've mentioned the dates briefly already. For year 4 parents, you've got to wait until February. I've got my daughter who's in year 4 asking me already about groups and activities and things. I've got to say, Rhea, pause a minute, just slow down. Got 5 months to think about that one yet. So I know I'm getting it as a parent at the moment for year 4, but that's February. I can't remember the exact dates off the top of my head, but it's the beginning of February there. It falls before Ramadan. Year 5 is actually the first trip of the year we've got. So that's the beginning of November. And year 6 is the week after. And as I've said already, year 5 and 6 parents, you've had that information already in your letters. I've put a big arrow and exclamation marks next to point number 2 on the board. The letters I know are lengthy, and apologies for the length of that, but there's lots of information in there, including things like the medical and waiver forms. Those are really important because there's one for us as a school. There's also one for the Adventure Centre, and please do fill in both. If you fill them in at the time of making the payment, that's even better for us because it means I can then, on my different spreadsheets, I can join them all up as we go through. So I can see, right, this person's paid and they've done this waiver form and they've done that one. And it means I just get to tick it all off in one nice, easy go. The deadlines are also very clear on the letters. They're different for year 5 and year 6. So please do take a note of what's on your individual letters for those parents in year 5 and year 6. And I really want to stress this without upsetting anyone. The deadline's final, please, because what happens when that deadline comes is we have to provide activity group information to the Adventure Centre, cabin groups, medical waivers, dietary needs, everything. And although it might be just a case of, oh, it's okay if one parent misses the deadline but pays late, that then throws everything out of sync. We have to look at our ratios again. We have to look at dietary requirements. We have to basically start from scratch every time we get a late payment. So that payment deadline, if you take one piece of information away from this entire presentation, the payment deadline, please do stick to it. There cannot be extensions, even in the most extenuating circumstances. I'm sorry for that, but it has to be there for a reason. Payments are not made to school. They're made to the link that's on the website. A company called Camps International oversee everything that we do. They check things like risk assessments, they check the staffing, everything goes through Camps International, which again is fully accredited as well. So they take the payment there. It does say on the letters, just whilst I'm on the note about payments, about refunds, if your child is sick and can't attend, and that has happened in the past. We had someone even last year with a broken wrist on the weekend before they were due to go. There are ways that we can arrange refunds, but it has to be in agreement with myself, the Adventure Centre and Camps. So please just be really clear if that's needed for a specific reason. Included in the letter, if you've not watched it with your child yet, sit down together and enjoy. It's about a 5-minute video from the Adventure Centre. They'll meet some of the instructors, they'll see some of the sites, and it should get them buzzing about the residentials coming up. They will also have a chat about residentials in their year group assemblies as well. So year 5 and 6 will be having it soon. Year 4 will be having it further down the line. That's an opportunity for the children, not just to get excited about it, but to ask questions and for teachers to start talking about the expectations as well as they go through. Let's see what's next. Oh, my last slide, and I can go on to some of the questions that I've seen coming through. So last slide from me is their socials. If you're not already following them, I would give them a follow because you'll get a sense of what they do already across their camps. They're, like I said, absolutely amazing. You'll also see, whilst your children are away, if you tick yes for social media, they will also share videos and bits on their social media of our trip whilst we're away as well. If you don't want that, of course, tick no for their social media, and they fully respect that as well for those children that shouldn't be, or you don't want them on social media as you go through. So whistle stop tour I think I made it in about 25 minutes. A whistle stop tour all through residentials and the vision for the year. Like I said, I'm super passionate about the residentials. It's been kind of my baby that I've organised here at JP for the last 4 years, and prior to that as well, I was the organiser for residentials at my previous school as well. I'll go through some of the questions. If you've got others, please do fire them on. If you don't have any questions and you want to log off, that's also fine as well. I 100% respect that. And thank you for joining me this evening. I know we're really busy. Right, questions that have appeared. Boys and girls, no, they don't sleep in the same rooms. I did answer that one. How many kids in the room? It's dependent on the groups that are going. Between 4 and 6 typically. In some cases there might be up to 8, but I doubt there'll be more than that. We tried to look to, we obviously plan A is to keep the groups nice and small. Year 5, for example, there are 6 classes going, so assuming every single person attended the trip, that's around about 75 children spread out across multiple cabins. You can probably do the maths that there won't be many per cabin on that particular one. Any advice on bags, luggage, etc.? Pack minimal. They're only staying away. If you're year 5 and 6, they're only away for 2 nights. Year 4 is only away for 1 night. You'll be amazed at some of the suitcases that do come in. A proper kit list will be shared with you closer to the time, so don't worry about that. It's the standard thing of multiple changes of clothes, especially if they're going to get wet, towel, toiletries, etc. I've never said no to snacks. We like children have a bit of fun, bring snacks, of course, share them. I will say no to too many snacks, and I think you could probably read between the lines there as well. If it's too much, then teachers might just keep hold of some of it and then allow the children to have some as well. And it goes without saying, it's 100% nut-free site. So snacks should not have nuts of any sort in them, and you'll be amazed parents still sending in things like Nutella bars and things as well. So please do respect that it's a nut-free site if you're sending snacks in. We'll let you know about bags, etc. nearer to the time. But yeah, it's the typical things of a residential with regards to packing. How many nights? I think I've mentioned that one. So it's 1 night for year 4, 2 nights for year 5 and 6. Any incidents regarding snakes or scorpions? Not in my time. I have an absolute massive phobia of snakes. So if there is, I'm not going, I'm afraid. No, there aren't. The site, every time an activity rotation takes place, the site is rechecked. So the space that they're using is checked for anything, sharp objects, animals, and bits as well. We're obviously, I say we're in the wild. We're not in the Bear Grylls extreme wild. Of course we're not. So there are going to be bugs and bits, but no, I'm not aware of snakes and scorpions or anything in the past. If, and it's a big if there was, I would of course put my extra brave pants on and not run away crying like a baby, although I potentially would if it was a snake. The Adventure Centre staff would be more than able to deal with it safely in the right way. Teacher staff ratio on camp. We're in a very fortunate position that all the teachers are buzzing and class teachers will be attending. Members of the leadership team have signed up for each of the trips as well. Where possible, we encourage our learning assistants to attend as well, and also members of the inclusion team typically attend as well. The exact number, the staff to children ratio, we have to, there's set guidance we have to follow, but it's also dependent on how many children sign up. So at the minute, if I said that, let's take year 6, for example, all the year 6 teachers go, all the year 6 LAs go, members of PLT go, and inclusion team go, but only say, I don't know, 60 children sign up, our ratios would obviously be very different to if a lot more children signed up. However, that being said, we as a school have to follow that guidance of the ratios as well. And off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what they are, but I think it's 1 to 10. Remember that the Adventure Centre staff will supplement those ratios. So for every group, activity group I'm talking now, and an activity group is between 8 and 10 children, there's always at least one member of the Adventure Centre with them as well. So straight away, that's 1 to 10 from their side, plus us joining them as well. You can see how that changes the ratios there. Can this PowerPoint be shared? Yes, the recording will be shared as well as the PowerPoint as well. Are children allowed to bring phones, smartwatches? Absolute massive no for this one. I'm really sorry for the person that asked the question. And this goes, right, I'm going to try not to get on my soapbox with this one. It's a device-free site, so please respect that. Please don't give your child a phone, ask them to hide it away from us to make a call to you in the evening to say that they're going to bed, or a smartwatch that can make calls. And this includes AirTags as well. We did have a couple of years ago a parent who maybe thought they were doing the right thing. They put an AirTag in the suitcase. When we were then on the way back, stuck in traffic outside Dubai Parks and Resorts, it was just general traffic outside Jebel Ali. That parent saw that the AirTag had come to a standstill on the road. They went into a mass panic, jumped onto the parent WhatsApp group, and then spread mass panic and fear among the group. I'm really sorry if I sound like I'm preaching to the converted here. Let's take travel as an example. We will update you via WhatsApp and primary reception our times to come back. You don't need to track us using an AirTag. And if we find an AirTag or a mobile phone or things, it may result in children being sent home. It may result, well, it'll definitely result in the item being confiscated as well. So it's device free. That includes laptops, iPads. They just don't need them whilst they're away. They're going to take that moment and actually enjoy it away from a screen. And they can enjoy their time away from a screen as well. And I mean this with the great, I am a parent of year 4, and I'm sure I will be that anxious parent when February comes as well. They don't worry about you guys whilst they're away as much as you probably worry about them. And that's the hard reality, I'm afraid. Having been on residentials, they have an absolute whale of a time whilst they're away. And unfortunately, you are kind of down below the things like the buffet, the trip, the activities, who's in their cabin and everything else. Information details about the kids while they're away. You will get photographs, updates. We might do some updates via Seesaw and bits. I will always say that the teacher's priority is your children. It's to have time away with your children, to take part in activities. I am very much one of those who I am expecting teachers to be modeling fun, if nothing else, and having a go on the activities. I don't want my teachers stood behind a laptop or a phone taking pictures of the children and not modeling that to them as well. Of course, they will take photos. Of course, they'll share them with you. In the past, we've done it, which I think has been very effective via a OneDrive folder. We can never take enough photos. Parents always come back to us and say, I've not seen little Johnny having fun. Little Johnny's there somewhere having fun. Maybe we just haven't captured him in that photograph. But we will try and share as much as we can with you when it's relevant and when it's important as well. Can the children call you on the trip? No, I've answered that one already. They don't need to. If there's any sort of medical emergency, we will 100% call you. Okay, so assume no news is good news. All right. We will only phone you if there's a medical emergency. All 3 sites are located very close to hospitals. If there's a need to go to a hospital, they'll be driven there by the Adventure Centre staff and a member of the team, probably a member of the leadership team. We will give you a phone call before we go. Any sort of medication that needs to be administered, we'll always phone you first. So children won't be phoning home during that time. So there we go. I've answered the smartwatch one. Details, yes, I've shared that one as well. Children have night terrors and sleepwalking. Okay, if they sleepwalk, please let us know on the waiver form or share some information with your child's class teacher. I've not experienced it in the past, and as I've said, in the 21 years of residentials, average of maybe 2 or 3 residentials each year at least, sometimes more, I've never actually experienced sleepwalking, even though parents have told us on the waiver form they might sleepwalk. During the night, outside the teachers' cabins, there will be a great big blue flag, blue being like the theme and the colour of the Adventure Centre. The children will be shown where our cabins are before they go to bed. They do a bit of a site tour and a site walk as they go around. This applies to all 3 sites, I should say, as well. So the great big blue flag will sit outside each of the teachers' cabins. In the night, should they need to, at any point, for any up in the night, they can wake up a friend if they need to, if they don't want to walk on their own, and they can go to a teacher's cabin, knock on the door, and that teacher can support them and help them in any way they might need it. Adventure Centre staff also stay on site overnight as well. They have a designated person on site overnight, so they'll be there as well in case there's something medical needed. And again, with regards to phoning home, we will only phone home if it's an emergency. With regards to night terrors, again, not necessarily experienced it. Had a bit of homesickness at times, or sometimes on the second night, children are just that little bit extra tired and need to go to bed a little bit earlier, but nothing that the teachers haven't dealt with before. So please don't worry. The teachers have all been on a residential here before and have experienced these all the things that sometimes worry parents we deal with regularly. Just going through some of the questions that I might have missed. Time about reaching out, I think I've answered that one already. AirTag, as I've mentioned, please don't use, there's no need for an AirTag. The luggage is pretty much with the children the entire time. So they will have the luggage in the classroom. They will put it onto the coach. They are then on that same coach. When the coach arrives, the children then take their luggage to their cabin. There's kind of zero time or need for them to have an AirTag to say where their luggage is. Can they be in cabins with their friends from other year group class? I've answered that one already. Yes, they can. Especially if they've been a class that's been split up, they can choose anyone within reason across the year group. It would always be down to the teacher's final preference who they're with as well as they go through. Can children get out of the cabin at night? I've answered that one. They can't roam around. To kind of extend on that question, there's security cameras on all the sites. There's security guards on all the sites as well. If they see someone get up in the night and for whatever reason that child hasn't gone to a teacher's cabin, I can't think of a reason why that would happen, but if that was to happen, the security guard will come out of their cabin and approach that child or come to the teacher and let us know. All of the rooms are en suite. So I've stayed on sites before where the children need to leave their cabin to go to the bathroom. That's not the case here. So all the rooms have en suite access. So really, unless they need to leave their cabin for a medical reason, they wouldn't need to leave. But simply to roam around, no, they're told very clearly the expectations and the rules by the Adventure Centre staff. And we have very clear expectations. If the children break those expectations, there are consequences. Same with the 3 hours in school: ready, respectful, responsible. If they're not being respectful to the Adventure Centre staff, there are consequences. If they're not ready for an activity, there are consequences. They're responsible whilst they're away as well. And I don't want to sound like the ogre and the big bad wolf there, but yeah, we have high expectations. And the Adventure Centre use us as much as we use them as a partnership. And Brian and Hannah love it when I book again with them, because they know that what they're getting from JP is amazing children, first of all, really, really good children, passionate staff with high expectations that we will support them as we go through as well. Do you ensure children put their sunscreen on? Yes, that's a given. They for each activity, they are reminded by the staff the things that they will need. If there's a water activity, like the water shoes, towels, etc., sunscreen as well. And then also, where possible, there's shading as well around the activities. It's part and parcel of living in the UAE about that sunscreen, isn't it? How many children in a cabin? I think I've answered that one already. It does vary. Minimum, I would say realistically, is 4. Absolute maximum is 8, but typically I'd look between 4 and 6 per cabin. Do the kids lock their cabins at night to sleep? They don't lock the cabins, but as I've mentioned, security is on site. It's absolutely forbidden to go in someone else's cabin as well, even in what we call free time, which isn't actually a huge amount of time. There isn't a lot of time in the day for free time, but when they do have a bit of downtime, it is absolutely, it's one of their very clear rules on each of the 3 sites, that you are forbidden to go in someone else's cabin. So there's not a need to lock them at night, because we need access in case there's an emergency. But they shouldn't need to lock them. I hope I've answered that question in a roundabout sort of way. When is bedtime? That's a question that normally one of the first questions that the children ask. I'm fairly flexible with bedtime, but we have to be realistic as well. It's a very full-on day for them. They're on the go. I lose track of how many steps I clock on my Fitbit whilst I'm on a residential. It's a very full-on day for them. They're out in the fresh air, on the go, literally from the moment we arrive right through to bedtime. Bedtime is at a reasonable hour, if I keep it quite loose like that. But if we feel the children are needing that bedtime, we bring it forward. All right. Off the top of my head, I believe, and I could be wrong on this one, so I'd need to check and get back to you. I believe bedtime, or the getting settled for bed, begins about 8 o'clock. We don't necessarily ask for lights out at that time, but we do give them kind of a settling down into your cabins kind of warning. There'll be time in their cabins, voices go a bit lower. We don't expect silence straight away, but we bring the voices down, bit of quiet time, and then the teachers and others will go around suggesting when it's lights out, and then from lights out, that's when we do expect them to be silent. I've stayed on residentials in the past where they're in very big dormitories or very big rooms, and it's very easy. Even the children don't mean to, even like the quietest whisper can wake others up. But because they're in such small cabin groups, it's very easy to manage their bedtimes and very easy to manage them going to bed at a reasonable time as well. Let's assume worst case scenario, a small group of children were very silly at going to bed and didn't settle. The consequence of that would be followed through the other day. And I have had to do this in the past where children were silly at night, a small group, a very small group. So there would be a consequence. They can't get away with it. So it might be that they miss part of the first activity the following day, or they might not be the first to go up to breakfast. And sometimes not being the first to breakfast is enough of a consequence that the second night they know what the expectations are. They're children. We want them to be children, of course. We were all children once. Can you guarantee me on this Teams call that you didn't keep a teacher up at night or have a secret whisper to a friend whilst you were in your cabin? I don't know. I know I couldn't. I was pretty awful whilst I was on residentials. That's how I know what the children try and get away with as well. All right. Thank you very much. Some of it might have been a bit of waffle, some of it might have been a bit me getting on a soapbox, a bit passionate, but I do really appreciate you giving up your time this evening. If you've still got questions, please do stay on the call. Otherwise, feel free to log off at any point. I'll continue recording for the moment as well, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate the thanks coming through as well. And do reach out to me, your child's class teacher, your assistant head teacher, if you've got any further questions as well. Otherwise, have a lovely evening, and I look forward to seeing lots of you and your children sign up for the residentials when they come around. So thank you very much.